And welcome into Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. First time, long time for Senior Raycroft and myself to sit down here as Razor. We've been on the go. We've been having some fun, still doing some work. And the Bruins name a new coach in Marco Sturm, which seemed like it would take a long time. It took forever to get around to this. So we told you folks, we promised that we would do another show once the Bruins coaching search was officially over, and it is done, as Marco Sturm is named the Bruins' 30th head coach. Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor is always proudly presented by the people at Fazenda Coffee Roasters. Check out fazendacoffee.com for all things Fazenda and all things Morning Brew. Whether you want whole bean, ground, light roast to the dark roast, Fazenda Coffee's got you covered. fazendacoffee.com, the lead sponsor of Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. I always like to check in with you. I will, full disclosure, Razor and I saw each other virtually like this morning, doing a 15-minute show with Nesson, but I didn't get a chance to sit and chat with you. We had those other hosts there. How you doing, man? It's been what? Geez, what has it been? 3 weeks since we did something? 4 weeks, maybe? Honestly, I don't remember. I guess I should know that. I don't.
No, it was at least, probably 3, I guess, middle of May. Flying by, of course. I've been less busy than you have. I was in Canada this past weekend at an event, but other than that, I've been pretty quiet.
What kind of event did you have up there?
Well, we had the big charity hockey event. 28
nice.
people. The Heart and Stroke Foundation. In Moncton. So it was quite the scene in Moncton for the weekend. So it was good. It was fun.
Yeah. Moncton's a good little town, for a couple of days.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I knew everybody by the time I left, which is when you know it's time to go.
Right. Yeah. You've eaten everything you can possibly eat differently there.
Food was unbelievable. The seafood was unbelievable. I had 2 great restaurants, so that was good.
Were you there for the championship game, or were you gone already for the CHL?
No, yeah. So we were we were leaving. Well, they played. Moncton lost out on Friday night, and I flew in Friday, but everyone was kind of focused on this. Okay. There wasn't a lot of. We didn't have it on the big screen. Everyone was kind of talking about it, but it was more about this event. So,
what kind of crowds did you have at your game?
Oh no, there weren't many crowds, but there was like 30 teams because there was 28 alumni guys out there plus. So gotcha. Each team, so there was 30 teams like that. So it was chaos. Just like the participants were all the people basically. So I had a great team, great group of younger guys. They raised like $1.5 million over the weekend to the foundation. So it was good. It was fun.
All right.
Cheesy was there. So we had Cheesy. Cheesy came in for Friday night. So nice. I saw him quickly. He did a little speech hot stoved it up with everyone. Bruins guys, Andrew Ferentz, non-Bruins guys, Ryan Kessler. Everyone would really appreciate that name listening to this show. So, another former teammate of mine.
My coaching nemesis for a couple of years.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's right. Kess was in the building. So it was good.
Did he win every face-off that he took?
There was a couple guys that tried harder than he did, if you can imagine. There was actually a few more. I told him to lighten up and slow down out there a couple times.
Oh, funny stuff. Well, all right. Good for you. Nice to get away and do that. Yes, I've been last round, Western Conference Final, Edmonton, Dallas.
And you get Edmonton again. Edmonton, Florida again.
I am coming to you live, or I shouldn't say live because it's a podcast, but I am coming to you from the hotel room here. Beautiful. Actually, I'll tell you what, the weather is gorgeous, but Edmonton, what a scene at the building. But again, right around the building, holy smokes, it's different. But yeah, so let's get into it. Bruins name Marco Sturm, the head coach. Former Boston Bruin, longtime San Jose Shark, a part of the very famous Joe Thornton deal. But from a coaching perspective, the most important details are an assistant coach with the LA Kings for 4 seasons, and then a head coach in Ontario, California, of the Ontario Reign for 3 years with the LA Kings. 46 years old, also served as head coach the German national team, both for World Championships and for World Juniors, having success there. This took a while. This took a while for the Bruins to get there, and they weren't the only team. I mean, Pittsburgh Penguins just named a coach 12 hours before that, surprising many people naming Dan Muse the head coach there. But with regard to the Bruins, it didn't surprise me that it took a while. Don Sweeney's thorough. Don Sweeney is dot the I, cross the T type of guy, Razor. And I think he really tried to go across a swath of different type of candidates to feel like if this was going to be the big hire here, that he was going to get the one that he felt gives him and the team the best chance for now but for future. Is that fair assessment? That's my take. You tell me.
1,000,000%. Again, we've talked about this before. I think it just lends itself, I guess, to everyone has an opinion on Don, but what you can have an opinion on is how diligent and how hard he works. And I think this coaching search just feeds right into that. You mentioned the amount of interviews and the energy it takes to run each of these interviews. Guys don't want to do it. They're like, I have my guy. This is going to be my guy. I know I'm getting him. Why I don't want to interview 10 people in the middle of the summer.
I'll do 3 easy and I'll get down to, I'll do a bunch of phone interviews and then,
Correct. I'm not, again, I know I have a pretty good idea who I'm taking. I'm not going to waste a lot of time on extra interviews. And that's not how he works. It really isn't. And that's why he's really well respected by a bunch of people in the hockey world. In that he is probably, if not one of the hardest working guys. And he proved it through this search. Took a long time, but what's the rush? Now that they've hired Sturmy today, if it was 3 days ago, does it make a difference? And I think that's kind of the mentality they took.
If it was 2 weeks ago, it wouldn't have made a difference. The most important thing is you have a coach basically before free agency.
Mm-hmm.
Coach is not going to impact the draft. Now, at the draft, you can make deals, significant deals, but that's not going to impact free agency. But I do think the optics of not having one by the draft is a little much. They took care of that. You're 3 weeks out from that. So you took care of that. But I think it's pretty clear they made a decision after talking with a few of the veteran guys. And I say talking, I'm saying from reports that I've heard. Nobody from the Bruins have told me that they talked to Rick Tocchet. I don't know that. I'm using Rick as an example, Talk as an example. It sure as heck would make sense if they talked to him for obvious reasons, right? I mean, and so my guess is we know that they talked to a bunch of people, but then they whittled it down and it became pretty clear, at least if you believe all the reports, that a style of candidate was the guy. That 40, mid 40-ish type range, NHL experience, player, I think preferred, but I don't know if mandatory, but I think preferred, former player. I think having Bruins pedigree of some form is a bonus, but I don't think it was a prerequisite. I just don't at all. I don't. No. And enough of a mentality of saying, okay, defense first. The Bruins put out a release as well talking about it, and they're going to have a press conference on Tuesday coming up. And so to me, it became very clear in the last few weeks of this candidate that they were looking for, and it wasn't going to be a 10-year NHL coach. It just wasn't going to be.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't, and that's that was probably both by design and just by circumstance from both sides, and certainly the Bruins. It just didn't make sense. Those big names that were talked about at the start just didn't fit.
You were never going to get Mike Sullivan. Never.
No, you're never going to pay
get
them that. Like someone's
Right.
always going to pay those guys more for the situation they're in, especially the Rangers or Philly and Talkett. And you can't bring Quenneville in here. Like it was those guys were getting knocked off, and the other teams fit better for both those guys and for the team. So, and I agree with you. I agree with you 1,000,000% that the player aspect, I think, is a trend that they wanted to go in. They wanted to try that out. They haven't really done that. I know Butchie played, but it wasn't, that was a while ago. It wasn't quite as recent or as young as Sturmy. So they haven't gone that route since Sully, for that matter. And that one worked out for them for a year or so. So, and then of course the Bruins angle is just, if Sturmy hadn't worked as an assistant coach for 4 years, and or was a head coach in the AHL for 3 years, if he had just done one of those two things, he wouldn't be hired right now. It's the whole body of work. It just happens to be Bergey's old line mate and part of Joe's trade. But that really is just that little bit of cherry on top where, okay, he knows how it works. He knows the trainers. He's got a little bit of a leg up on everybody on, just the ins and outs of the organization, just the simple little things that he doesn't really have to think about. So, but again, I think you said it, the biggest piece of this was a guy who played, but also, put his what's on the line to ride buses and really work and learn his craft.
Now, you obviously know him well, having been in the locker room with him, and you can call him Sturmy. I can't. I'm not going to. You
I don't know now. Now it's coach. But yeah, Sturmy.
Right. Yeah. I'm going to call him Marco, right? And I know him, but I don't know him. I know who he is. I've probably talked to him a few times as a broadcaster. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, great guy. Although I will tell you, everybody who knows him says great guy.
Yeah.
It says, so having been on the ice, in the room with him, I can sit here and tell you what others have told me. You tell me, though, what Sturmy's all about.
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is smile. And you've seen that from all the highlights, the goals, whatever it is. That's what I think of Sturmy. When he comes into a room, came into the dressing room every day, it's that big smile, always positive, always happy, and really well liked, really well liked, universally. And he came into a situation in Boston, a dressing room that was unhappy at that time, because of the way we were playing, but more importantly because of the deal that had happened that brought him, and he fit right in. He really, it was seamless. He was just, I'm here to play hockey and have fun. Let's go, guys. And so that the idea of all of that, his personality is going to really fit with this team. I think his personality is really going to be a breath of fresh air for us in broadcasting, us in media. The way he's going to talk to everybody, the way he's going to interact with everybody, I think is going to be really enjoyable. And of course, most importantly, he's going to be able to really relate to the players. In that he loves the game, and he loves the game, and he just loves being around the guys, and he's happy to kind of take anything on. So again, all the way back to the start, it's just that his smile and his energy is really good, and that's made so. And you can say that, this, Billy, just being out in Edmonton, how important relationships are in this business, and especially for a head coach to be able to call on people, to be able to get people's respect, to be able to ask questions and get advice from a wide group of people. Sturmy can do that. And that's really important for a first-time coach.
Working with the LA Kings organization, he did not have what you would call a full cupboard of high-end prospects. That doesn't mean he doesn't have a major responsibility to still help whatever prospects he has produce there. The defenseman Spence comes to mind. Jordan Spence. He didn't play a ton for him, but he played some, and now he's with LA. There's a couple of others that have had some up and down, but I wouldn't say the LA Kings cupboard has been full of players that need to be developed. I'm probably forgetting one or two, and if I am, forgive me, but I don't think I am. The results that he had there, 2 of the 3 years in the playoffs, it's a funny type raise it 2 or 3 years, maybe 3 of 3. Actually, I think they lost in the first play-in round this year, remember correctly. The biggest thing that you're looking as a coach down there to do is to do what the parent club needs you to do. If it's literally 1 player, 5 players, if it's have a bunch of mid-20, late 20-year-old guys ready for a call-up that can play the same system that you are. Is it about system development? Is it about skill development? Usually it's some of both, but every scenario is different. The word I got from people that know him there is that he's a very organized, firm, but very fair when it comes to talking with the players, but very organized. He's young enough that he can still relate to these younger guys, yet has the cachet of 900 plus games in the NHL to also say to veterans there, like, hey, I've played more than you have. And I know he wouldn't do that. I'm talking I've been there, not just been there, done that. I've been it even longer than you have there. So I like that mix. I like that mix. To sit here and tell you I know his X's and O's, I'm not going to right now. I look forward to hearing from him on Tuesday. Now, let's not forget, he was doing a 1-3-1 as an assistant under Todd McClellan in LA, a team that at time was kind of skirmishing a little bit at times the last few years. And then they went to a 1-2-2 neutral zone system this last year in LA when McClellan was fired. Now, is he playing the same system in the American League? I'm assuming. My point is this. I don't know. That he went into that meeting and Don Sweeney said, what's your identity going to be? What's your structure going to be? What's your system going to be? So I look forward to hearing that. I do, because I love the X's and O's portion of it. But the fact that he gets it, and I think the fact that he has played under some pretty good coaches, whether it was in San Jose or in Boston or, then he goes to work in LA. I like it. I do. I like it. He's had the experience as a player, as a coach, doing different things.
Yes. I'm glad. I'm glad they've kind of thread the needle in finding the younger guy, but actually getting an NHL guy at the same time. I'm always, I would have been more skeptical had they just went full willy-nilly on a new guy who came out of college and never done, just didn't hasn't been around the NHL before. Or gone big time with a big guy that's that we just talked about, one of those veteran coaches. So I think they've done a good job threading the needle. No idea what Sturmy's going to do. And I know that we're gonna talk about this a little, but I'll segue into it. It's all about the staff too, right? Now, what are the next steps? That's who's around him, who's sticking around. Obviously, Joe has gone to New York. I could have seen a scenario, obviously not for Joe's side of it, but I could have seen a scenario for the Bruins side where that would have been really nice to have him around with Sturmy. That's a really good mix, a really good matchup, but Joe had to go. It just the way that the past year went. That's how hockey works. So
I love the job for Joe Sacco going to New York.
Oh, it's perfect. He gets the cream of the crop of the assistant jobs out there, because that's what he is. He's right at the very top. And that's, I guess, selfishly, that's why I would have loved him to stay in Boston, because I think so much of him as that guy, associate, assistant, whatever it is, he's a big part of helping guys.
And Mike Sullivan wanted.
I'm sure Drury opened the checkbook up to get him out of here, right? That would have been done. So I guess again, all the way back, Sturmy's, it's a great hire. It's kind of, it works both sides of young, veteran, NHL guy, get respect, be able to, he can lean on the relationships he has with Chara and Bergeron and Krejci. Those are all connected to the guys leading in the dressing room now. You can bet your mortgage that they've all talked to each other about Sturmy and what he is and what he's about. And he's going to get that instant credibility, and that's huge.
Yeah. The Bergeron thing, I get into the staff in just a second, but we still don't know about the staff. Who's going to stay? Who's going to go? We don't know. I guess.
And the reality is, I mean, you might have names. I have no names. Like I don't even know where they would go. Like there's a million.
I don't have names.
There's some guys that can be head coaches.
Names,
there's a million guys that can be assistant coaches, right?
Right. I don't have names, but there's no question. How's this for amazing insight? There will be somebody staying from the current staff, and there will be somebody leaving. That just, I would think so. It just makes sense to me, right? It just, but I do think he will inherit at least one, if not two guys. Just my take. The Bergeron thing is, as you said, the cherry on top. It's also, I think, a testament, perhaps, to Marco's ability as a player, but also as a person to get along with, one of the greatest Bruins of all time. I don't think it was a mandate either, but the fact that he was so close to Patrice in that sense, Liney, et cetera, that you knew the question was going to come up. So with Bergeron putting out a statement, I get it. I totally got it. And it can't hurt, because why shouldn't, and we know that any coach would want to talk to Patrice about it, but there's going to be a real conduit if Marco needs something, even if he's not an assistant, he's that, hey, Bergie, what do you think about the face-off here? Something like that. There's that comfort level. And, you always hear people in business talk about the importance of networking and having these type of advisors or whatever, and to make your corporate or your company better and everything. Well, same damn thing in hockey. So it's just, you said it right. It's an added bonus, but it's an important added bonus in my eyes.
It is. And it goes to the overall relationships that he's had with everybody. And of course, Patrice is as good of a relationship as you can have. And again, I'm adding Z in that too, because him and Sturmy played for 4 years together as well, and they did a lot together. So between those two guys, it's everybody knows what kind of a guy he is. There's no question that you're going to get Marco Sturm's 100 million% effort into this, his organizational, everything else. Like, he's all in, and that's again, that goes to that network and having people vouching for you. That's how life works, and it's certainly no different, if not more important, in the National Hockey League.
The rumblings were that Jay Leach, Jay Woodcroft, Mitch Love were all in the running. There are obviously, again, other people. I haven't talked to any of those aforementioned people. I don't know if you have or have not, Razor, but Razor's shaking his head if you're listening on audio. He's saying no. There you but those were all candidates. Whether they were all finalists, I'm not sure, but the word is that a couple of them were. But now the Bruins make their decision. They now can move on to the next step of retooling this team, if they're going to do that, and probably focusing some more now on trades. Last year this time it's close to where Linus Ullmark was traded to the Ottawa Senators. Maybe a week or two earlier, if I remember correctly. But regardless, now they can start thinking of that. They have a first-round pick guaranteed with the Florida Panthers, making it to where they have into the Stanley Cup final a couple of years from now. But now, over the next few years, Razor, they've got 5 first-round picks in the next 3 years. You have to use that capital now, that draft capital, and I'm convinced that they will. If not 2, they'll use 1 for sure to make a deal at the attempt, but maybe even 2. Maybe they use 2 of those. I think you have to keep 3, 1 per year per se. 3 first round. Yeah, you have to. Just because their cupboard is it's bearish-ish. So do that, but at the same time, you have to reward your team with the great effort that you, meaning management, did at trade deadline being able to cultivate those draft picks. See if you can utilize those and the draft cap and the cap space you have to make a move or multiple moves. Because I just don't know if I see this team being able to fill the amount of holes that they have, especially up front, via free agency. I just don't know if I see that.
No, it's not going to go that way because everybody has money. Every single team has cap space. They all have money. We're not a year ago or 2 years ago where it was, everyone had $2. But if the team had 20, then you could get all the free agents. This year, it's not going to work like that. Guys are going to get paid a ridiculous amount of money. If you're an unrestricted free agent this season, and one team can't fill 4 spots with them. So it's and the good news is everyone's got cap space, so you can make trades because everybody else is in the same position, and everyone's looking to get better. And the players, it seems, I don't know if you feel this way, but I feel like the guys that have contracts, or it seems like people are a little more vocal in saying, even though I have a deal, like I'd be willing to get traded this summer. Like it feels like there's blood, like everybody knows it's going to get chaotic, and everybody is trying to angle, if they're not 100% on their situation, that maybe this is a good time to trade me. I feel like I just hear a lot of, this guy kind of is ready to go, or that guy. And that just bodes well for chaos, and it bodes well if you have 5 first-round draft picks over the next 3 years when you're not a full rebuild. To your point, that you don't want the Bruins don't need 5 first-round picks. They need 3. 3 would be nice, especially a top 7 that's really good this year. But they don't need all 5 of those guys because they have already got their goalie, they've already got their defense, they've already got their forward. So beyond that, you're filling spots.
And you can't waste the Pastrnak years. And you just can't. I mean,
and the
McAvoy
and the Swayman, and you can't
well,
waste
right,
any
but you
of
can't
these
wait
guys'
3 years. But especially with Pastrnak, who is the unique talent that he is, that he showed, especially last year.
Can't waste my years. Can't waste your years. What are we talking? That's more important than David. Let's not waste our years.
You've got a lot more time. You've got a lot more time, a lot more runway than yours truly. I tell you what, I feel old as shit.
Well, you've been in Edmonton for 3 weeks. What do you expect?
Yeah. What I spent, what's the old saying? I spent a week in Edmonton one day.
Exactly. That's how I feel about Moncton.
If the wealthiest person, no, I forget it. I was going to say something about Edmonton. I don't need to go about it. I don't. No, I'm not going to.
Someone will find out.
Yes. No, I know. I was going to have fun with it. And then I'm like, be careful. And not even be careful. Just don't do it. All right. What else do we have? Anything else here? Playoffs have been good. Final is off to an interesting start, and that the Edmonton Oilers came through with a almost Florida Panther-esque type of victory over them after being down. They turned the tides. They changed the they said, hey, if you can dump and chase and hit us, we can do it right back at you. They did a good job with it, and they took it to them. And then we've got what do we got coming up? The Marco Sturm. I'm actually going to be home. I'm coming home in between game 3 and 4 because my amazing, wonderful daughter, Julia, is graduating from high school, and I will not miss it. The beautiful thing is we have 2 days off in between game 3 and 4, and that coincides with the Marco Sturm presser.
Oh, beautiful.
So I'm hoping to make that and go there and after landing at Logan. So that would be it'd be fun. It'd be good. It'd be good. And it'd be good to see him and see everybody else there. All right. Anything else we need to cover about the coaching? No.
I think that it'll fill itself in as we go. But the initial hires, everyone should be excited. This was probably as good as they could have done. I think it's gonna work itself out really well. And
I don't know. By the way, let me ask you this: do you understand that there might be some people, when I say not happy, they're just saying like, I don't say I understand it, but meaning like he's not a big name, he's not what they think. But on the other hand, this is the type of thing where you kind of just you said this is probably the more right type of hire than the others.
Yeah, I think I get a bit of a sense where it's like, oh, another Bruins guy, but it isn't that. It really isn't that. He's done.
Yeah, I think of him as a San Jose Shark. I do. I think of him as a Shark.
He's done so much work to get to this point. It really wasn't convenient. Again, going to the minors and doing national teams, like those are pains in the ass, and he was willing to do it to get himself to this point. So I think it's there really shouldn't be too much negativity to this, and now he's got the clock's ticking already the clock's ticking and get the job done.
I'm curious, do you remember if he wore those skate blades that a lot of the other German guys did with all the holes in it? Those like Seidenberg wore?
I remember Yoke and Heck had them.
Yoke and Heck, yeah.
They're
crunchy.
I don't remember Sturmy having them. I don't. Because they made so much noise. They clicked.
Oh my God. It was like you could hear him from like a mile away coming.
Yeah, I don't think
I just wonder if he wore him. I wonder if he'd bring him to his coaching. Anyways,
yeah.
All right. Thank you to Fazenda Coffee. Also, you know what? Graciano Construction. Thank you to Graciano Construction. Make sure to go to GracianoConstruction.com to revitalize and refresh your space as the team constructs themselves. Consider Graciano Construction for your next project. 508-330-7589. Check out GracianoConstruction.com or give Doug Graciano and his guys a call. But thank you to them and Fazenda Razor. Great to catch up with you. RC, fantastic to catch up with you too. RC survived a major mosh pit fest last weekend, and I think came through with flying colors. So
he's okay, folks.
He is. He's a bull. He is a bull in those scenarios. That's why we love him. All right, Razor, you and I maybe Tuesday, maybe we can sit down and crank something out. I'm not sure. I don't know where I haven't even asked where you are. Again, I'm scheduled to be home early in the morning. Let's see if maybe we can do something. If something comes out of it. If it does.
No, because I'm on vacation. So no.
Excellent. Like I said,
we don't do this show, folks. There's nothing planned. We let her rip. We just get on and go. Yeah.
Yes, we don't. We don't. So, okay, it's the family one that you told me about before.
Family one is starting this week. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. All right. Sunscreen. Enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
You'll have a great time. So, folks, we will not do a show. We'll do another show whenever we're good. How's that? Make sure to enjoy your coffee. See you later.